Okay, I think we're all right. Let's see if we are cooking with fire yet. Okay, looks like we're up. Sorry about that. Looks like my dumbass laptop decided to freeze and okay, looks like we're up. Sorry about that. Jeez, I'm all discombobulated. Yeah, my laptop decided to freeze and it says in order for me to reset it, I have to unplug it, pop the battery out, pop the battery back in, and I don't have time for that. So I just moved over to the desktop and I don't have any visuals. So we're just gonna have to do it all janky like this. So the show that I did want to talk to you guys about was the show called All of Us Are Dead, which actually comes from a webtoon and of the same name. And if you want to read the webtoon, I believe it's available for free. The whole thing. I only got to chapter 14, and so far it's been free. You just have to download the webtoon app, and then you can read the actual webtoons. I'm gonna see if I might be able to share a picture. Let me see if I can Google right quick. So you guys can see kind of what the webtoon looks like. You want to make it bigger. Let me try that. There you go. This is the webtoon for All of Us Are Dead. You can see how some of the characters really already kind of look like the casting was done really, really, really well. Go see if I can. I believe this is the character, which was the girl that was smoking in the bathroom. They did put, looks like a side by side. You can see how closely they made her look like the character from the webtoon. It's actually pretty interesting. But let's get into the show. Let me say hello to everyone in the chat that's joined me. So let's see here. Tony Man says, there you are. Board now says, hey again. And finally, yeah, finally. Hey, Jesse Diaz says, yo. And you guys are saying hello to each other, which is great. Yeah, the show looks pretty good. I think I'm going to have to do it this way. What I'm going to do is go, this is what we'll do. All of Us Are Dead, and we'll do season 1 so I can get at least a few visuals on here. The show starts out with several students, and I like how they introduce, not season 1, episode 1. I like how they introduce each of the students. There's actually kind of like a prologue too about the student that was being bullied on the roof, which that set the tone for the show. Oh, I should ask before I go forward, how many of you are actually watching the show and what episode are you on, or did you finish the show? So I know how far to go, because I was planning on just discussing episodes 1, 2, and 3. Board now is watching it. They're on episode 2. Tony Man finished it. Jesse, how far along did you get in the show? So I know. while I was waiting, I'm going to start on episode 1. So we don't get introduced to all the characters that are in this picture in episode 1. We get introduced to most of them, and I have not learned everyone's name yet, so I'm going to tell you that right now. But I have nicknamed them. One I nicknamed, I guess on Twitter, his nickname is Gummy Worm because he was eating gummy worms. But I nicknamed him Neck Pillow because dude had a neck pillow on in class, and I'm like, why? But I mean, I guess. And then there's also this red-haired girl who's super, super evil, and she was calling this other kid what did she call him? A wealthy, short for like a person that receives like welfare benefits. And she talked about how her family voted for them not to allow them into their apartment building because I guess the apartment building now has low-income housing, and her family voted against that. But she's such an evil, evil character. Still not as evil as the main bully. Don't know his name, but I'm going to call him Tracksuit because he always wears a tracksuit, and he's like soup. He's like this level of bullying is like I can't even. It's not. It's no longer bullying. It's assault. It's assault. It's pretty bad. I will say this of the first episode, I was a little bit annoyed with this character because she would not get her ass up and run. And I know some people, uh, the whole psychological, I think it's a psychological response where it's either fight, flight, or freeze. She's one of those people that freezes, and it was just annoying the heck out of me. Board now says, yeah, she was really snooty. The bullying was hard to watch. Yeah, it was, especially when they were on the roof. Like, literally, that did go wrong for people who haven't watched it yet. I won't say specifically what happened on the roof in the rain. I'm talking about one of the opening scenes on the roof when they were bullying this young man and what happened to him. And then there's also a bullying scene in what looks like maybe the basement of the school or an area of the school that is being built up, like maybe they're expanding. It looked like there's a lot of construction stuff happening there, and they were literally forcing this young lady to disrobe, and they were recording her and taking pictures and trying to blackmail her. And it was just above and beyond. It's like Stephen King movie level bullying, which makes me really look at the 50s. Like, was it really that horrible? Because that's pretty bad. I should also mention that I initially wasn't going to watch this because, if you have watched me and Crystal on Coast to Coast Horror with Crystal and Shasha, and you know how I feel about modern zombie movies. I like zombie movies, but I like Romero zombies. I like Fulci zombies, and I like the zombies from Return of the Living Dead. If I don't see you coming out of the ground, I usually don't like that type of zombie. I guess maybe some people call them rage zombies. But I did like Train to Busan, and the students actually mentioned Train to Busan in this series. Like they actually say, "Oh, it feels like we're in Train to Busan." Now says that roof scene was stylish too. I think the characters are solid so far. They are, and they get more developed. The other thing that happens is it doesn't stay contained within the high school. It starts out in the high school, but then you see how it affects the larger community. First, their parents, then people who are completely unrelated to them, and then you see how the government handles it. And there's also some subtext to the story because at one point, I'm thinking whether I should mention that because I don't think that might happen till episode 4. So I'm not going to talk about the subtext until we get into episode 4 because there is a larger cultural subtext that's underlying the story. Tony C says those are the best zombies. Yes, especially the Fulci zombies. The way that they're made with the maggots and the worms coming out of their eyes, like those zombies, like those are memorable to me. And technically, the very first Night of the Living Dead, those might not have been zombies because George A. Romero himself in the movie refers to them as ghouls, and ghouls are different than zombies, but not many people make movies about ghouls anymore. Ghouls might actually be considered a subset of zombie. I'm not sure, but I know in the movie they're called ghouls. What else? The technical aspects. Everything looks great. Like, I want to show you pictures of the zombies. Here's a good one. They come in like different, well, it depends on how far they've decomposed and whatnot, but they can come like this, or they can be a little bit more like how I was showing in this one. That one's pretty nasty looking. They did a good job with that. And the stunt performers. Oh, I wonder if there's GIFs. Let me see if there's any GIFs for All of Us Are Dead. The way they move, they must have hired dancers. Let's see if they have any GIFs of actual zombies moving around, because there was one that was like crawling on their elbows backwards. It was so tight. No, I don't see any. Well, maybe this one. This might be a good GIF. Let's see. No, it's not moving. It's marked as a GIF, but it's not moving. Could just be my old ass computer. Too bad they don't have one of the zombie that was crawling backwards, because that was really cool. Let's see if this one works. No, that's just them ambling around normally. So this is why I hate that my laptop went down, because I had my stuff in order and prepared to present, and now I'm just winging it. But we'll make it do what it do. I like the costumes too. I don't know whether these are the usual school uniforms or whether they are more like fantasy based, because of the pants. I've never seen the school uniform where the boys have plaid pants. There was also some cameos. One of the characters, one of the actors from Train to Busan did make a small appearance in the principal's office in one of the earlier episodes. I don't remember if there was episode 2 or 3, but he showed up. And also, speaking of the young lady with the red hair, we recently saw her. Where's her picture? There she is. We just recently saw her on Squid Game. She was the young lady that she passed away when they were playing the children's games in the little village. Yeah, pink sweater girl. Yeah, Tony T he beat me to it. It's one of the actors from Squid Game is in the series. Yes, that's her. I should look at the Tony Man says the thing I learned is, like Game of Thrones, don't get attached. Yeah, pink sweater girl. Yeah, she was on, but she filmed this, I believe, before Squid Game, because as I understand it, season 2 of this has already been filmed. So this is actually, we're getting it old. It most likely was probably on television before, getting premiered on Netflix, but it's possible they could have went straight to Netflix. So don't quote me on that. Here's another great image from the I want to say graphic novels, webtoon, because I don't think these have been printed out. I think they're only available just in digital format. But yeah. Do you guys have any favorite characters or least favorite characters? I do like the relationship between the students. And the other thing I was noticing is that, I'll sidetrack for a second. Recently, there's been a lot of discussion about Euphoria and what's going too far and them showing too much, especially when these are meant to be minors. And it's not like you can communicate an issue without having to illustrate it graphically, especially since we have seen that over and over again, going back to Degrassi, 90210, Melrose Place. Like, none of these are new issues, so it's not like they can say they're doing anything groundbreaking. The one thing that would be groundbreaking is if they actually cast teenagers as teenagers instead of these like there's some actors on Euphoria that are 30 years old playing teenagers. But I digress. I said that to say that in this movie, you see a lot of the similar issues being brought up: teen pregnancy, drug use, violence, some of the same issues, but it's not, for some reason, it's not in the same. It doesn't feel voyeuristic like Euphoria does. Euphoria feels a little bit voyeuristic and it's a little bit uncomfortable. I can't put my finger on why, to be able to explain it better, but it just seems that you can do the same thing without it coming off that way. And I thought that this series did that very well. It's not just a horror series; it's also a teen drama, and it's also an adult drama, and it's also a thriller. Tony Man says, I liked Jacket Dude. You would like the bully. I also like the girl who kept kicking that guy in green sport coat dude as well. Yeah. The girl, yeah, she kept kicking him in the, I don't know, was she kicking him in the back of their thighs or on their butt? It seemed like she was kicking him on their butt specifically. And all the references to eating Korean fried chicken, Korean fried chicken, if you have not had it before, it bangs. It's so good. If you have a Korean restaurant near you, grocery store, get some Korean fried chicken. There's all different types. Kimchi, banging. Oh my God, the food is so good. I was going to try to teach myself to make kimchi, but I don't trust myself with that. Even though I have cabbage in the refrigerator, but I really want to make some kimchi. I'm actually going to open a tab and go over to IMDb. To get some more images, get some better images than what is up here, to really show you how good the show is. It's very engaging. Like at first, I should also mention that it's available in two different formats. It comes with subtitles, but there's also an English dubbed version. And I should show you the video. I wonder if I will get in trouble if I show you the video. Let me show you the video of them doing the English dub. It was really, really cool. Maybe I can play like a couple minutes of it without getting dinged. Let me check out the chat while I'm waiting for my old computer to do what it does. I need to take up a collection so I can get new technology. I should have a what did I just watch telethon. Or internetathon and take up a collection. Also, while I'm doing this, since it's super slow, did any of you guys watch Kingdom? Well, those are the Hindi dubbed. Oh, I didn't know. It's also dubbed into Hindi. That's pretty cool. Let me check the chat. Okay, so Tony Man says there's a new one on East Colonial where I used to live in Orlando. They had a news story about it. I can't eat it. You can't eat any of it? No, but heard it was good. Tony T hasn't. Make a commercial showing your old computer and have Sarah McLaughlin play it. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I should record this old slow computer and have In the Arms of an Angel playing. And hopefully I can get. I forgot to put my phone on do not disturb. I'm so unprofessional, aren't I? One day I'm going to get the hang of the streaming. Now you see, you all are witnessing why I edit things, because I don't think I'm going to ever get really, really good at doing everything live. I'm a planner and prefer to do everything planned rather than spontaneously. I literally saved it to my watch later and now I can't find a video. Maybe they took it down. Well, I'll do it tomorrow. When I talk about the other episodes, I'll show the voice acting tomorrow. Because there's some really good behind the scenes. They put a lot of work into this series, which I mean they usually do. God, my computer is so slow. Yeah, I do need a producer, or at least an assistant. Board Now's name is actually going to become. It's going to come true. You're going to get bored now with me trying and failing. I can hear an Agent Smith in my head saying, "You are failing." Why does this keep happening? I'm trying to click on a picture and I keep getting a Geico ad on top. This is so frustrating. Finally. Okay, so now I can share this screen instead. That's better. That's how the high school looks on the outside. Let's see. 15% more on insurance. Yeah. Thank you, Jay. That's what I kept getting, just Geico ads. So I'm just gonna go through. I'm gonna scroll through the. There goes another advertisement. Don't want any more Geico. I like this student too. There was a good scene where he had the drone and he was flying the drone through the school and outside the school to see what was going on. I love that they did that. And there was a Korean zombie movie called #Alive from last year. I want to say it was either last year or 2020. That was really good, and they were using drones to figure out what's going on outside. They have all the cool stuff. Unlike me living over here just barely on 5G. You know they have 7G in Korea already? They're on 7G and we're getting commercials. Get 5G in your neighborhood. So I keep saying it. I'll keep repeating it. Someone else said that America is a third world country with a Gucci belt. And it really feels like that. These two had a really good friendship. Like, you want to talk about ride or die? These two were pretty ride or die with each other. I thought that was cool. And it's our main students that, like Tony Man said, it's like Game of Thrones. Like, don't get attached. Um, Jay, are you talking about the hashtag alive? Because I was surprised too. Because I don't know if you were here earlier when I was on my spiel about not liking modern zombie movies, but Korea, they've been producing bangers. Like I said, Train to Busan, hashtag Alive was good. The Kingdom series is pretty good, although those technically might not be zombies. I'm not 100% sure what they are. They might be a different type of creature because there's something to do. They Their activity changes whether it's nighttime or daytime, and that's usually not a zombie characteristic. It's more of a vampire characteristic. So I'm not sure. Yeah, UK is doing some good stuff too. Or do you mean it feels similar as far as the technology situation with the Wi-Fi and all that not being as good as it is in parts of Asia? This is when they were all this what's cool about their high school. My high school did not have this type of recording studio. That's a whole recording studio in our high school with a sound booth and everything. We didn't have that. And we had a whole audio visual club, but that was basically just delivering TVs and VCRs to teachers' rooms. That was the extent. Although we did get to mess around with green screens and do a little bit of special effects, digital special effects, but we didn't have anything like this. That's nice. I won't give you context of that scene because that's would be a spoiler. These two right here. Now they end up being part of an unlikely love triangle because this little boy, he knows he likes this girl, but he don't ever tell her that he likes her. He's on that middle school, I'm gonna pick on you because I like you, and she's always kicking him and I think the butt, but she likes this other guy. And he knows that she likes the other guy because the other guy talked to him and was like, "Hey, you go with her?" And she was like, "No, I don't." He was like, "No, I don't go with that girl." But at the same time, he's jealous of the guy talking to her. I know it sounds so teenage, but like, that's what they are. They're teenagers. Yeah, I told him we had a green screen in school. We had a green screen. We made like I'll tell you exactly what our audiovisual videos look like when I was in middle school. And mind you, this is in 1989. If you see Nana Cherry's Buffalo stance, that's basically what we did. We just put random stuff in lip sync to songs. That was what we did. We didn't know what else to do because the teacher didn't even know how to use the equipment. Like, we had these old teachers that they didn't know how to use equipment, so we just basically played with the equipment until we figured out how to do what we did. As part of being Gen X, trying to figure out technology on your own because the your elders don't know how to teach you how to use it because they didn't have it. So it's like we're always in a state of having to learn some new stuff. Oh, I almost forgot. They were very smart about one thing. When they were in kind of locked in these different areas, the little girl was like, "Well, if we're going to stay here overnight, we have to make an area that's for the bathroom." And so they did that, and they showed them like taking these whatever soft materials they can find, like some cotton or some sponges, and they actually showed them putting together their makeshift toilet to absorb the urine. And I'm like, these are little things they don't really show in a lot of zombie movies. Also, they eventually end up arming themselves, like putting the pads on their arms, stuff that you would logically think to do, but they don't typically do in a lot of movies. The only ones I've seen them do that in is in Train to Busan. Dude had padding on his arms, and then Dead Heist. Dude had padding on his arms. I could be mistaken. You can name some others if you can think of some that I didn't think of. And this is showing how it spread from outside the school. And I didn't get into because I'm not sure whether it's episode 3 or 4, but there is also a YouTube connection where there is a YouTuber that's out live streaming themselves during this. But I cannot remember whether it was in episode 3 or episode 4, so I will wait till tomorrow to talk about that because that was pretty cool too. And we have these two characters who are police officers. And initially, they start investigating the science teacher because the whole thing starts with, well, not the entire thing because there's a reveal. So I'll just talk about what's revealed in the first episode. In the first episode, a girl goes in the science room, the science classroom, and she is bitten by a lab hamster, I believe. And that's what starts off the, I guess, the zombie outbreak. And so the science teacher had locked the girl up in the back room, and she finally got out, and the students took her to the nurse, and she ends up in the hospital. And so these one of these officers, the one here on the right hand side, he was investigating the science teacher for locking the girl in the room, but he also knew the science teacher from earlier when the science teacher said that his wife and his son went missing. Yeah, it was a strong hamster. That's what was killing me. The hamster was running into the walls of the its cage, and it had a metal box over it. And as soon as I saw that, I would have went the other way. But no, this little girl is gonna. She sees something rattling around in there. She's gonna lift up the metal enclosure, see the hamster is wilding out, and then stick her finger by it. Like I said before, the girl in the cafeteria that wouldn't get her ass up and run irritated me, and this little girl irritated me. There's other times where the kids just did stuff that I was just like, why are you doing that? But they're kids, and your brain isn't fully formed, so you're like 26, 28 years old, so it is what it is. So you have the two police officers, they're kind of fighting their way through the city. And they're kind of shaping up. Well, I have not finished the series, and you know how Korean series can, draw different types of. Let me say it this way: they can make you think that one thing is happening and then flip the script on you completely. So this being a Korean series, I'm going to say tentatively that right now this police officer is being framed as a hero, but who knows what's going to happen because it's a K drama, K horror series. And the science teacher, there's a reason why he did what he did as far as the experiments. They just went wrong. I'm gonna say what it is because it was exposed in the very first or second episode. He created this yeah, I forgot about that, Sony man. The students were saying that the teacher smells like a rotting corpse, which I don't know why the students would know what a rotting corpse smells like. But either way, they were right. The science teacher, I told my sister he was trying to create anti-bitch serum. And I called it anti-bitch serum because it was a serum that he was trying to inject into his son to keep his son from being bullied because his son would never stand up for himself. So he created an anti-bitch serum so that his son could be more brave and stand up for himself. But he inadvertently created a sort of rage virus instead. So that was revealed very early on. So it's not a super duper spoiler because you find it out within the first 2 episodes. And this is, a shot of when he was experimenting and the stuff went wrong. And I think his wife was the first test subject because he had her chained up in her zombie form behind that plastic. I don't know why he would report her missing though. That's kind of shining a spotlight on what you're doing if you report her missing. But I guess maybe he thought if he didn't report her missing, he'd be in even more trouble. And I'm not going to talk about the kindergartners yet until tomorrow. I can't wait to talk about them. It's interrogation. They really did a good job of making the science teacher look like how his character did in the webtoon. I cannot remember the context of the scene. It might be an episode I haven't seen yet. Oh, I forgot about that with regards to the bullying. Remember how earlier I said that the bullying was on another level? They put this kid in a washing machine. Like at first I thought it was a dryer. I was like, no, they can't have put him in a washing machine. It had to be the dryer. But he came walking through the door with his clothes all wet. And I'm like, how could you even survive that? Yeah, that's the bitch son that they put him in the washing machine at the laundromat. Now that's next level bullying. Like I'm quite sure that's illegal. That's criminal. But he came home with his clothes dripping wet, and I was shocked because I could have sworn I was like, "No, they didn't put that boy in the washer. It had to be the dryer." But no, they put him in the washing machine. I think that's his mother after that incident when he was in the washing machine, possibly. These characters I really like. There's two different groups of characters in this shot. There's these two students that were coming back from an archery. They had an archery competition. They were just coming back to the school, and these two students were just hanging out in the bathroom smoking. And there's a little bit of a subtext to how they interact because of what year of school they're in. Because in South Korea, there is kind of like an unwritten cultural perspective about showing deference to a person that's older than you, even if they're in school with you, if they're older than you. Not just South Korea, but in other parts of Asia, you might refer to a friend that's older than you similarly to the way you refer to your big sister, or a friend that's younger than you might refer to them similarly to the way that you refer to your younger brother. And so there's a little bit of play within this because I want to say this student, I might have it backwards. I think this student was older than this student. And at a certain point of the story, she stops regarding her as older and just like talks to her any kind of way. But I might have had it reversed. My memory is trash. But yeah, I would have loved. Well, we kind of did something similar here. I mean, it's not an unwritten rule, but I do remember making freshmen throw out my garbage when I was a senior in high school. We only did it to the freshman boys, but like, I don't know. That was messed up when I think about it, but it's still funny to me. Tommy says, I like the arrow and the cigarette girl. That fat dude and the Beatles haircut dude annoyed me. Right. The chunky dude, he did well. There's two chunky dudes. One of them I call Neck Pillow. He's the one that's with the other group of students in the music room, and then there's this one down in the bathroom. The one with the cool, he tries his hardest. This one tries too, but he's just awkward and his character doesn't seem like he's a bad character. He doesn't seem like he's a mean person or he's a bully or anything. He was literally just hanging in the bathroom with that girl smoking cigarettes when everything popped off. More of this I'm going to get through within because I'm going to get out of here at about 9 o'clock because this live stream was janky enough. this is this is going to go down history as the jankiest live stream I ever did. Even the way this looks, it looks more like a movie than it does a TV show. Also, another smart decision they made was with the cell phones. At the very beginning of the school day, they had the teacher take the cell phones, and it gave an excuse for why they couldn't call for help as easily as they would have been able to. And I thought that was a smart decision. This girl's a badass. Like, her aim is on point. Again, with the don't get attached to people. Like, you can't unless you've watched the series, you can't tell who this is falling, but they will completely develop a character and then, they might not make it. What we're referring to as Game of Thrones. This was just like these two young ladies. It's a flashback to their friendship when they were out and they're trying on lip gloss and taking photos and stuff that teenage girls do when they hang out, or some teenage boys do. Let me not gender certain things because we shouldn't gender those things. But just how their friendship was, which is cool because it gives more, you care more when people do get got by the zombies. If you develop their characters and you give us something to care about, it makes a lot more sense, it makes a lot of sense for you to have an emotional reaction when something happens to them. And this was it? Let me see. Does it say? Mm, okay, good. Episode 1. So I can talk about this. This girl possibly was infected, so she did a very noble thing. She stood by the window and she was just like, if I turn, I'm just going to jump out the window. And I was like, that's very, very noble. Watch This Now says, I haven't watched the show, but I want to drop in and say, hey, Watch This Now. By the way, check out his channel. He has really, really great content. I like his delivery. I like how it feels like you're just listening to a friend talk to you about movies. It's what's up. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate that. I do like also that on their IMDb page, they with these shots, they're not giving away the story very much at all. That's very, very smart. A lot of times, companies will put on their IMDb page huge spoilers, and so far these pictures, if you don't know the context, it's not really a spoiler, and they also make sure not to show the creatures too much, which is cool, because if you show the creatures way too much, and it kind of takes their impact away a little bit. Yeah, so I like how they did this, and it allows me to jog my memory on the first, because I'm up to episode 6, so I'm kind of jumping back in my memory to remember which things only happen in the first couple episodes, so I'm not spoiling it further on. There's another character, I didn't mention her yet because something happens that's very surprising and I didn't want to spoil it for you. It happens in either the first or the second episode. There's a young lady that has to leave class early, and initially she's going to go to the nurse's office, but then she ends up going in a different direction, and I won't tell you what happens with her because you just have to watch the series. It's really, really, it's surprising. It's 2 surprises in one. You get one surprise, and you get another surprise. Oh, Tony T says the green background makes it look like a James Wan film. Yes, I agree. Tony Man 100 says, I must admit, I even got emotional at some scenes. Watch the Now says, thank you. So it's never a problem. Never a problem. 6 episodes ago, you're almost there. Yeah, I'm going to start watching it again tonight, but I want to prepare better for my show tomorrow night. Because the way I wanted to do it was talk about the first 3 episodes tonight, then episodes 4, 5, and 6 tomorrow night, then 7, 8, and 9 on Thursday, and then 10, 11, and 12 on Friday. But I will be a lot more prepared tomorrow than today because I'm just kicking myself that I almost started to cancel it. I almost started to put, the show is canceled because my laptop won't come back on. But I figured, well, I might as well just try and see what I could do with what I have on my old computer and see how I can work this. I'm starting to feel a little bit like a Twitch stream, because I know sometimes some Twitch streams are like this, where the person is just kind of messing around, but they have 5 hours to do so. So I guess eventually they stumble onto something. But I'm a novice at this still. Maybe that'll be my goal for this year, because I haven't made a New Year's resolution. So maybe my New Year's resolution is become a better streamer and not rely solely on just edited content. That was pretty cool. See, I'm glad they do include this, so you can see that it does get a little bit gory, but moderately, nothing too gory. What else? Hood Podcast also say they vouch for Watch This Now. This is cool. And Board Now just sub to Watch This Now. Very, very cool. Yo, while you're in here, why are you not sub to Hood Podcast? I see a bunch of people in here that I don't see when we're doing Hood Podcast every Monday and sometimes Tuesdays. You guys need to go and subscribe to Hood Podcast. We have a good time on there. We talk about viral stories. We talk about news of the strange, international news of the strange, stuff everywhere around the world we talk about. And we have a good time. Y'all need to go and subscribe to Hood Podcast. And follow us on Instagram. We have an Instagram, and we also have a website now. So that's pretty cool. What else is going on here? Yeah, they really didn't spoil this because most of these shots are from the first couple episodes, like the first three. That poor girl, she got bit right on the face. She knew she was gone. That's the other thing I respect. So far, there hasn't been anyone that really tried to hide that they got bit, because that is also a zombie movie trope that is so irritating. There's always that one person that got bitten and they try to hide it, and then until they turn and put everybody else in danger. In this, the kids are pretty straightforward about if they got bit, if they got exposed, to the point where one boy got exposed and they made him go sit in the the music booth, like the sound booth in the music lab, for an hour to make sure he didn't turn. But then that old evil red haired girl, I won't tell you what she did. You'll have to watch for yourself. But she's so evil and so. I hope they don't try to give her. I mean, I'm only 6 episodes in. I hope they don't try to give her a redemption arc because she is an evil little somebody. Tony Man says, "Really, not that gory? I forgot you've watched Street Trash and Society." Oh yeah, my level of gore is way up there. If it's not like Dead Alive or Uncle Frank's transformation scene when he first comes back in Hellraiser, that I mean, this is moderate gore to me. I feel like Bane. You merely adopted the gore. I was raised by it. All right, is there anyone else I forgot to mention out of these students? I mentioned the friendships, I mentioned the love triangle. Um, I think that's the gym teacher right there. I won't tell you what happened to him. This is when she tried to act all sad, even though she is the bitchiest little bitch that ever bitched. Sorry. Good actress though. In the cafeteria. I also like the set design. Rather than them put a filter over everything, they just designed a set to have these muted colors in the background. So you still feel kind of a sickly air, but it's due to the actual colors they use in the background rather than that, that filter that Wild Eye movies use. Wild Eye uses them, and there's another movie company that often uses these ugly. It's either a green filter or a sepia filter, and it's a no for me. This character right here, this bully ass bully. He actually, his character after a while kind of reminds me of oh god, Jay, I hope you're still here because you know the character's name from Avatar: The Last Airbender. The boy who's in the Fire Nation. Why can't I remember his name? Somebody in the chat put his name, that the one that had the burn mark on his face. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. Let's Google it and find it. Zuko. That's who he was reminding me of. He reminded me of Zuko. Says they can't hide if they got bit because how rapid they change. Toyman says, that's my boy right there. I don't know why this is your boy. He was so evil. Like, he was evil for no reason. Like, he was literally shoving people into zombies just for them to get eaten, like, just to do it. Like, he was just he's terrible. And he has a mullet. But it's 9:00, so I'm going to get off this janky ass stream that I did terribly. Let me thank everybody for coming through and sticking with me, even though this was barely a stream. Jay says I couldn't with the mullet. Jay, wait till you see what happens next. Episode 4, he only gets worse. Like, he has the worst thing happen to him, but in his mind, the best thing happened to him. It's terrible, but it's also entertaining. But I'm gonna go. It's 9 o'clock. I'm hungry. I'm about to go and make some burritos in the kitchen. Oh, thank you, Board Now, for considering this a cool stream, even though this was janky as hell. Oh, you finished it, Jay? Oh, I gotta catch up. I gotta finish it. I didn't finish the last few episodes because I got distracted by the Tinder Swindler, and I got distracted by Love Is Blind season 2. I watched the first 4 episodes of that. I keep getting, and also there's 2 other K dramas I started watching. They're mystery thriller horror dramas, but they're on the Viki app. One of them is called Mouse. I don't know if y'all see Mouse. It is so good. And the other one is called Flower of Evil or Flowers of Evil. But those I'm gonna really have to, like, when I start live streaming about those, I really have to break them up because I think Mouse has 22 episodes and Flowers of Evil has like 24 episodes. So I might have to do those like episode by episode because so much happens in those. But they are damn good. Like, if y'all get a chance to watch, I'm gonna write it in the chat. The Viki app. It's also known as Rakuten, and most of the shows on there are free, but there is some premium content that you have to pay for. But the shows, let me see if there is a poster for Mouse. I could type. Yeah, that's Mouse. Which also has to do with it actually has to do with the serial killer gene. Whether some people have a serial killer gene and some people don't have a serial killer gene. It's very, very interesting. And then the other one, let me see if it's Flower of Evil or, yeah, it's Flower of Evil, no S. That one also has to do with serial killer, but you don't know who the serial killer is. As of yet, I haven't gotten there yet, but there's a lot of twists and turns. So both of these I'm going to be finishing up whenever I get a chance. There's so much, I feel like there's so much content. And then also, oh my God, y'all, the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre comes out Friday. And I have to finish watching those too. I just watched the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre again. I rewatched it. First time I saw that was with my grandmother back when I was 10 years old. So that is a classic. I finally watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I don't know what the big deal is. I did not like it. The gore was good, but the rest of it, I mean, trash. It's a trash ass movie. I'm sorry. So I'm going to have to watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 and 4 so I can give you guys those reviews. And then I might check out Leatherface, the new Leatherface movie that came out a couple of years ago before the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre drops on Netflix on Friday. So wish me luck because this is a lot of content that I'm going to have to get through. And I still have my other channel that I'm supposed to be doing my 90 Day Fiance stuff on. So check out, let me check in that channel. Fashion Freak TV is my other channel. I might cover Love Is Blind season 2. I don't know if I'll have time. Ward now says, yep, going to check that out. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is a fun trash overall night. Yeah, it's one of those things that I think if I had seen it for the first time when I was a teenager, I probably would have liked it. But seeing it now as an adult, I'm just like, because when I was a teenager, all you had to do for me to be happy is to have some gore in it. You make a movie gory, I like it. It doesn't have to be a good movie. But now with my, I guess, more developed brain, I'm still hella immature, so take that with what you will. But with my adult brain, I just thought there wasn't. It seems like Toby Hooper just did it because he got paid to do it, but not because he really gave a damn. It's just like, okay, I'll cash the check because he's done so much better stuff in between. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, he did Poltergeist, and you could at me. Yes, I know that Steven Spielberg had a hand in Poltergeist, but I do give Toby credit where credit is due. There's certain things I know that Toby did, and there's certain things I know that Spielberg did, and they worked beautifully together. And then there's Life Force, which is completely Toby Hooper, and the only shortcoming of Life Force is that they didn't have the budget to do the effects they really wanted to do, but still a good movie. So I knew what he was capable of doing. So when he does Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, I'm like, what are you even doing? This is not. And also, I can blame Toby Hooper for creating Rob Zombie, because that's who Rob Zombie wishes he could grow up to be. Is Toby Hooper, and if it wasn't for Toby Hooper existing, you wouldn't have a Rob Zombie trying to copy Toby Hooper. So that's my rant on that. Anyways, let's see. Oh, thank you for subbing to my Fashion Freak TV channel. The Saw family. Oh, the Sawyer family. I think you mean to say Tony T. And Tony Man says that dude heating up a coat hanger. Yeah, that's the part that I remember the most, is the coat hanger guy. Board now says, yeah, I like Life Force. Speaking of Life Force, has Patrick Stewart ever been young? Because he was in that, and I'm quite sure that was 40 years ago, and he still looks the same. I don't understand. He only did part 2 because he can direct his Vanity Project films. That makes sense. A lot of times, directors will do that, where they'll do a movie that the studio wants them to do, and within that contract, they add that they can do 1 or 2 other projects that the studio will finance, but not to the same degree as the tentpole picture that they want to put. So that makes complete sense. Yeah, thank you for saying that. But yeah, there's so much content coming out. We did talk about this on Hood Podcast, but I'm going to ask you guys this also. Did you see the trailer for Jordan Peele's Nope? It's a very ET moment. What did you think of it? Oh, Borna says Stewart had hair in the original Dune, I think, which is weird to see. He did have a little bit of hair, and he ran into war holding a pug dog, and I just love that. I love Dune, period. Like you are, if you know me, you know I inherited it from my mother. She originally read Dune. I think the original series came, or the first book of the series came out in 1964, if I'm not mistaken, and she read it when she was a teenager. And so when the original 1984 movie came out in the movie theater, my parents took us to see it, and I was 8 or 9 years old. So I didn't really understand what was going on, but I loved it, and I was afraid of Flying Fat Man. They really made him grow, especially when they were injecting his facial lesions, is what I'll call them. But like the new Dune, it's cool and everything. This is my one sentence review. It's cool and everything, but I miss the weirdness of the 1984 Dune. I liked the weirdness. Tony Man says yes. Board now says not yet. Kiki better bring it. Kiki always brings it. I love Kiki Palmer. She always brings it. I was waiting for Board now to say nope, not yet. But I think that is it. I feel like I kind of recovered a little bit towards the second half of this live stream. But tomorrow is another day, and will be a better live stream, more prepared, not as janky. Knock on wood. But thank y'all for coming out. I really appreciate you so much. With that, I will say goodbye. Yes, I'm gonna go. I got all the ingredients to make my own burritos, because when you order from Taco Bell, they never bring you your goddamn sauce. Taco Bell, you never bring me my sauce, you never bring my fire sauce, you never bring me any of my sauces. So I had to go and get my own tortillas and beans and a little bit of salsa, all that, to make my own homemade burritos that I'm going to wrap up and then put in the freezer so I can eat them as I want to. Because I don't really like the store-bought burritos anymore, because they don't have enough in them. It's just beans, meat, and cheese, and that's not enough for a good burrito. So I'm going to go do that. You all have a good night. Thank you again for stopping by. We'll see you tomorrow night.